What's up, guys? How you doing? I am with a good friend of mine, Cris Chico. Cris was one of the guys. I've had him on my podcast at least 3 or 4 times. And Cris, I've never been on your YouTube channel yet.
Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what? We have
it
to do
just
that.
dawned on me. It just dawned on me. I've had you on my show. Well, anyway, I had you on my podcast. Cris and I go way back when I was first getting started. I say this all the time when I talk about him, when I introduce him. My back was against the wall. I was hemorrhaging cash. I needed to figure this real estate investing thing out. I bought tons of courses, tons of books, spent thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on coaching, and I just was getting nowhere. Finally, I said, I'm going to buy one more course and I'm going to do whoever's course I buy, I'm going to do what he says to do, and I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to do it. Whether I like it or not, I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to do it. And I bought Cris Chico's course, Virtual Wholesaling. It might have been called Absentee Owner Profits at the time.
Yeah, that's what it was called at the time, absentee owner profits.
Yes.
That was
And
pre virtual wholesaling days.
yes, but it was so good because he just said, all right, go get a list of absentee owners, and then send them this ugly postcard, which I didn't like, but I did it anyway because I wasn't going to ask any questions, right? Use this one-page contract, which I thought was full of holes, but I'm just going to do it anyway, make this offer and use these contracts, and then do this to find buyers. And I just did what Cris said, and I did my first wholesale deal and made like $12,000 or $13,000 doing it. And I couldn't believe, I remember like I'd been a professional student, Cris, for like 3 or 4 years. And I remember so clearly doing that deal thinking, holy smokes, this actually works. This
Yeah.
stuff actually works. I'm able to do a deal. So Cris and I became friends over the years. And in this new market challenge that I'm doing, I contacted Cris because Cris is the expert in the real estate investing space for a couple things. Number one, virtual wholesaling. But right now he's also becoming really well known as the expert in online marketing, online ads, like Facebook ads, Google pay-per-click ads. And so I said, hey, Cris, I'm doing this new market challenge. I'm going into a few different states here. And will you help me set up this campaign so we can show people the leads that are coming in from it? And I think people are going to get a lot of value out of this. So goal of this Zoom call here that we're recording is we're going to go back, peel back the curtain. We're going to show you what Cris has done for me, our Facebook business page that we set up, the website that we're getting that I have, and how the leads are coming into my CRM, which is REI Simple, right? And we've already had really good results. Cris is he's very organized, and he's always trying to improve. So he may not be happy with the numbers that we've had so far. And I think he is, but he's like, no, he could be doing better. And I want you to understand too, like sometimes your numbers get better with time. And I've only given Cris like 1 or 2 weeks, 1 week really mainly.
Yeah.
And so these are only results that have come in 1 or 2 weeks. And you got to understand this when it comes to Facebook ads, Google PPC ads. The longer you run your campaigns, the more you tweak it, the more you test it and all that, your cost per lead comes down. I'm super happy with the numbers. Cris is looking at it like, okay, there's a lot we need to do to improve here, but I'm like, this is amazing. So I said, let's do this recording and talk about it. Cool, Cris?
Yes, 100%. And, the one thing I would just piggyback on what you say is that with any marketing, even if you're doing cold calling, even if you're doing direct mail, there's always tweaking that you're going to be doing after you launch any campaign. If you're doing cold calling, you're looking to see what the results you're getting from the various lists, and you're making adjustments on what lists are better, what lists you should eliminate. So there's always a fine tuning that has to occur with anything that is done when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, very good. First, before we go on, guys, I want to make sure if you want more information about Cris or you want to know where to get his stuff, I recommend you go check out his YouTube channel. He's got a great YouTube channel, does a lot of good content on there. He's more entertaining than I am. I hate to admit it. He's funnier than I am. I hate to admit that. But if you go to YouTube, just do a search for Cris Chico, and you'll find Cris with a C-R-I-S, Cris. And where else can people go, Cris, to get more information about you?
Yeah, what I was going to suggest is that I'll put together also some stuff related to this call. If you can go to flipanywhere.com/challenge. And when you go to that, then I'm going to set up a special page that maybe will expand on kind of what we've talked about here today. with some additional resources. You just flip anywhere, as in flip like in gymnastics, anywhere.com, but you got to put /challenge, and I'll include some goodies for those that
Nice.
are listening here as a friend of Joe McCall. Any friend of Joe McCall is a friend of mine. That's what I say.
Oh, thank you, man. All right. So flipanywhere.com/challenge.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. So, Cris, can I just share my screen here?
Yeah.
And maybe you can walk me through some things. Now,
What
yeah,
are we
I'm going to
covering
share.
first?
Let's
Facebook
do
or?
Facebook. Yeah,
Okay.
let's do Facebook. And I'm just going to share my REI Simple page. Because what we've done here is we've created some campaigns. Let me just kind of explain these campaigns. This one, I think this was an old campaign that I did. I need to delete this one here, but before I delete it out, I want to make sure there's nothing in it. But we have a campaign here for Google PPC ads. We've got 18 leads. Some of these may be duplicates, and I'll talk about that later. We have a Facebook ads campaign. We got about 16 leads in there, and we have general leads here. And what general leads is, I have a toll-free number on my website. Anytime somebody calls that phone number, it creates a lead here in general leads. And who knows where they're coming from? I mean, it could be from any of my marketing if they find my website or something like that. Now we're targeting a group of states. And one of the things, Cris, maybe you can talk about real quick, when we are doing virtual wholesaling, you can target like a specific zip code, a specific county, maybe even a specific state, but it gets pretty expensive when you do that, right? So we're targeting multiple states, and I'll list the states here, and then would you tell us why it's cheap, why you get cheaper leads when you do that? We're targeting Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, South Dakota, Texas, and Wyoming. So why, Cris, why is it cheaper cost per lead when you go wide?
Yeah, with any of these platforms, the narrower you target, the more you are in competition with other people, and then the higher the cost per lead. Now, more competition with other people doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't necessarily mean that you're competing with other real estate investors. You have to look at it like if Joe is in, if Joe is in his neck of the woods, and you just want to target that small geographic area, and you're actually saying to Facebook, hey, if Joe's interested in real estate, then in selling his property, then I want you to, show my ad to him. But, he also might be in the market for a nice present for his wife. And so another advertiser is targeting him for that. Maybe Joe wants to buy some new clothes so he could just look as spiffy as I do. Although I only wear black, so he would only have to wear black shirts. Then maybe another advertiser is targeting him for some wardrobe. So you have to think about it as that person, that individual, is being targeted by a variety of different advertisers at any particular time. And so the smaller geographic region, the smaller the audience that you're targeting. And so then now that's going to drive up your costs. So with Facebook and also with Google pay-per-click, and this is not the way that, and we're going to get into Google pay-per-click, but most of the time it's not done this way. But what you want to do is you want to expand the target audience. That gives Facebook more room to work with. It allows you to to not be it allows you to have a larger pool of prospects to work with, so then that way Facebook can show your ad to the right prospect at the right time. Because then maybe if Joe's, if the platform is busy serving Joe all these different ads and not real estate, maybe today might not be a good ad to show to Joe because it's going to be too expensive, but maybe tomorrow or the next day. So by expanding that area, it makes it better. And also it's a different framework. Instead of, say, most of us decide, hey, I'm going to go into one market. So either your local market or a virtual market. What we're doing is that we're expanding our area. So we're allowing the leads to dictate what the markets that we're going to do deals in, which many times will surprise you and be markets that you never thought of, even considered to do business in. But all of a sudden you do the deal there. And now at that point, then you can say, hey, maybe I'll implement some of the strategies like Joe has been teaching you on direct mail, or maybe I'll do some cold calling in that market because look, I did a deal and I didn't even know this town existed. So it's a combination of two things, a combination of expanding the audience to drive down the cost for the ads, but at the same time, expanding the audience to maybe allow you to tap into opportunities that you didn't even know were available to you because you didn't even consider those particular areas.
Yeah, that's very, very good. All right. So as you were talking, I was opening up a bunch of tabs. We're going to jump in here and I'm going to show you some really cool stuff. All right, so I have open here. We're going to look at Facebook ads first, okay, Chris? And
Yes.
I'm going to pretend like I'm kind of walking through this for the first time. Maybe you can kind of walk me through and show me where to go and things like that. So the leads right now, these are the leads that we've received from Facebook. I'm looking at a Google sheet that we have. Now, these leads are also put into REI Simple through Zapier. But we've got a good 14 leads here. We've looking at Chicago, Illinois pilot. Now we made an offer on this one. I need to follow up with him. Iowa, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, South Dakota, Lincoln, Nebraska, North Dakota, Iowa, Illinois. And some of these are really good areas. Some of them are small towns, but we're not afraid of small towns. I actually really like.
Scroll to the right so we can see some of the responses. Also, give people an idea of, because we also on this lead form we ask for price.
Yeah.
And price is just a good way that if you have a bunch of leads and you can kind of sort through them really quickly and try to get to the ones that you think are the most viable, at least first, the time frame, and then the reasons why they're selling.
Yeah, look at that. I need to move ASAP now, now. Need to pay some final expenses. I'm moving. House too big. We're getting older. Wanting another place. Need a smaller house. Don't use it. Don't want to pay the taxes. I like that. Moved a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then these are the campaigns is interest. So we'll talk more about interests.
Yeah.
In the different copy, but this tells you kind of where, what ads are working well or not. Okay. So we built a little simple Facebook page, kind of is where it started, right?
Yeah, we built a simple a Facebook page, and the Facebook page is the equivalent of you. If you wanted to set up a website, for your business, but to advertise on Facebook, you have to set up their own version of their website, which is a Facebook page. The couple of things I was going to mention about the page was that, it's kind of like I'm always, there's two ways you can build a page. You can build a page that's very that's personal in nature. That would be Joe buys houses, etc. Versus this is more of a corporate feel type of page. And so it's, you're kind of straddling the middle, because it's like on the little on the left, the little avatar photo. I would have preferred maybe using your photo or something that has more personality behind it than just that. And so those are or even, we can test a page that is Joe buys houses in Midwest or something of that nature. So so it's very plain vanilla. It's not my ideal page. We're working on a limited time frame. So the page definitely could have an impact and the perception of the prospect, which would increase the conversion rate.
Well, that's a really good point. And I forgot all about that until just now that you brought it up. Can you give us maybe an example of a good page if I were to go to Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, you could just look at my page. I'll give you. You can go to a page. Cris buys houses is one example.
Cris buys houses. Oh, a nice picture of your ugly mugshot.
Yes, and I'll give you another one to look at. So that's one example. So if you notice that page has me, a picture of me. The banner. If you scroll down, there's a video of me as well. And so there's pictures of my family. So it adds personality to the page, so that way if somebody looks at the page and is trying to make a decision whether or not they're going to do something with you, then at least they know you're a real person.
I like this.
Yeah. Another page you can search, go to, we were in the process of building this one out, called type in nationalpropertybuyer.com.
Oh, that's a domain.
No, on Facebook.
On
Facebook. There should be a page that shows up. Yeah. Type that in. Let's see if it shows up. There it goes. That's it. That's another page. So that's another one of my pages. So that one's more corporate. Okay. But it pops. Like if you notice, the has the banner up on the top. We're just in the process of building out this page because we're always testing different angles and hooks and etc. But if you notice, like your page looks very much like a 1980s graphic.
Yeah.
Right. This has a little bit more. The colors are bright, etc. We're just in the process of finishing this, etc. But those are two. So yours sits in the middle. It's not really being personal, but it doesn't really have the pop. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then where do you get your website? Somebody's asking, where do you get, how do you build your
Yeah, I mean
Not a good one yet.
well, no, this one, just no, leave it there, because we're doing some testing. This is this is this would be the equivalent of somebody using REI Simple.
Uh-huh.
So this is built on their platform. I was just testing. You can also go to sellyourusahometoday.com. Sellyourusahometoday.com. Yeah. So that's a Carrot website right there.
Real similar to mine.
Yeah, we're very similar to yours. If you go to just go to your website, for example, the selltojoefast.com.
Yeah. So this is the website, Sell to Joe Fast, that is actually referenced or linked to on my Facebook page.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you, on your page, it was very vanilla. You didn't give me that much to work with. I don't know if you noticed in the upper left-hand corner, I added that because you didn't have anything there. It was it just said Sell to Joe. And we're going to talk about this, but one thing about the Carrot sites, they're great to get up and running and to have a credibility site, etc. But you got to do something to spruce them up and to really give them otherwise then they look, when sellers go, they're going to look at every other site. My suggestion is if somebody's using your REI Simple, they probably would be a good idea for them to set up their website there, because when we had the leads come in to your software, then it just makes it easier because it can go right in, it's seamless, etc. But you got really, the two main options are Carrot, or it would be your REI Simple.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let me bring that up real quick, because if you want to get a Carrot site, I highly recommend it. There's just plug and play, boom, you're done. You got like 10 different websites to choose from. Go to joelikescarrots.com, joelikescarrots.com, and sign up with them. Then also, if you have REI Simple.
Wait, hold on. Is it Carrot plural or Carrot with an S?
S. Joe Likes Carrots.
Okay. That, you should register joelikescarrot.com.
Yeah, you'll probably buy that domain actually after we hang up here, right?
Yeah.
No, but yeah, okay, joelikescarrots.com. But also, if you build your website inside of REI Simple, there in the tutorial videos of REI Simple, there's videos for websites. And in the description of that, in the classroom tutorials of REI Simple, there's a link to a guy on Upwork. His name is Rahesh. He will build your website. You give him any website you want online that you can find. You can give him these Carrot websites, give him any website that of a competitor. He will build that exact same looking website inside of REI Simple for $50 to $100.
Yeah.
The guy's really, really good. And I'll give him your information if you want, Chris. Okay, so I want to go through this. This is just a Carrot site. I could have built this in REI Simple with my friend Rahesh from Upwork, but we just wanted something quick and done.
Yeah,
I just signed up with Carrot, got a new website with Carrot, and thank you for the logo. That looks awesome.
Yes.
But I agree. I think your page
looked good. It was a very formidable task, but nevertheless, I think I did okay.
All right. And I like your advice too of make this personal, make it look like it's coming from you. You're not just some corporate thing that, you copied on this. So we built this super fast, but even in spite of that, I'm still getting good leads on it.
Yeah.
So you need a business page, kind of where it starts from, and you need to have a website that you can put on there. This is an REI Simple phone number. This phone number goes to the lead campaign called General Leads here. That's why I have 8. Some of these are spam, but I have that toll-free number that I put on my Facebook business page. And this is the same phone number on my website as well. I believe it is right there, right? 2985. Yeah. So that's kind of anybody that calls or texts that number goes into this campaign in REI Simple General Leads. Just show you associated number. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Now we next thing is we need to build some ads. Right. Oh, and let's talk about where these ads go. These are called form ads. Is that right? Or what are they called?
They're called lead ads, lead generation.
Yes, they don't go to a website.
Right.
So the websites are more important for Google PPC.
Lead form.
They go to a lead form, right? So I'm going to open up my ads manager, my business manager account here, and kind of show you what we've done. This is for the last week. Let me go the last 14 days here. We have spent $493. And let's go. We've been kind of testing little things. I just want to show people kind of what's working now. All right. I click on
can
this.
go into the, I was trying to see which one. That's a new one that I just had built for you. You can click on that one.
Okay.
It's a little bit messy because so big picture. Let's see. I'm just trying to think about for whatever people coming in. Go to the campaigns tabs on the left-hand side. So in Facebook, just for those of you that are just not really familiar with Facebook, we set up a campaign, and a campaign, they have different layers. A campaign is where we determine, hey, what kind of campaign we're going to run, how much of a budget perhaps we're going to put into there, and just some broad strokes. And then once we build out a campaign, then we go into the next layer underneath, which is what's called the ad set. So if you click on that campaign, just so we can see the ad set, and the ad set is where you put in the targeting. Now, if you notice, when you look at this, you're going to see that there it says all interest and no interest. And so what we've done, just because of the fact that we're working quite rapidly with Joe getting up and running, we have a bunch of interest that we pulled together that would lead us to believe that, hey, somebody might be interested in selling the property. And so then we take all those interests and we dump them all into one targeting group. But then we also target without any interest at all, just allowing Facebook to crawl our website and to just start showing our ads. And then they will automatically start to get an idea of our type of prospects. Nice. And so then, like, for example, what happened on this one here, and this is the way Facebook works, is you'll notice that, if you were going to look at this one, you notice there's one that has 2 leads. That one that has 2 leads.
Yeah.
That one that has 2 leads, if you put the checkbox on that one, just so that we can pay attention. So that one is one that I started. I started that one along with the one all the way at the bottom that says no interest. And those two started at the same time. The one that has all interest ended up getting 2 leads at an average cost of $5 a lead. So then what I did is I paused the one that says no interest, and I duplicated several times the one that says all interest, the one that got more leads. Because in essence, what you're doing is it's almost like a hook. You have a fishing rod and you have all these hooks and you don't know which ones. So you put them all out there. And then all of a sudden fish start to bite. So what do? You take all the rods out that are not providing you fish. You look at, let's put more of that rod out. Nice. And so that's what this campaign is. I just did this. I think it was this morning. I went ahead and I duplicated the one that got us the 2 leads at $5 a lead. Because in essence, what we want to do, because of the large geographic area that we're working with, our target cost per lead is somewhere, I would say somewhere between $10 to $15 is kind of what we want to be in general for the type of targeting that we're having. Although $30 a lead isn't that bad, considering that, hey, if you're doing direct mail, you're doing some other sorts of marketing, you'd be spending, upwards of $70, $80, $100 a lead. So they're still quite low in terms of cost per lead. And then from here, then if we click on the ads, maybe we can show them a preview of how the ad looks like.
Well, can I ask you one question before we move here? What is all interest leads 2, all interest leads 3?
That is basically the all interest leads one, the one that you have checkbox, it's duplicated. Because since that one there got 2 leads, then Facebook has grabbed on to a particular audience group that seems to be hyper responsive. So what we do is that we pause the other ones and then duplicated that one, because it's when you're duplicating it that way, it is taking the learning and the information it's gathered from the first one, and we're transplanting it into the second and the third one.
So what are the things that you change in 2 and 3?
Nothing. We just duplicate it, and that's it.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we look at the interests here? Where the
we can look at the interest. Go ahead and click. Yeah, go ahead, click on edit.
All right. So we're at the ad set level.
Yeah. Right.
We have a daily budget for this particular ad set of $10 a day.
Right. And we find that with Facebook, the lower budgets work better than the higher budgets.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So we have location right here. We're targeting Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, South Dakota, Texas, Wyoming.
Right.
Age 18 to 65, all men and women. And then here are the interests, right?
Yeah, those are all the interests that we
It
group them
might be
together.
hard to see. I'll
Yeah.
zoom in a little bit. You got the words, and these were interests that you just targeted, you selected or something, right? You searched for.
Right. Through a lot of different testing and everything else, these are all the interests that we pull together that deal with real estate. Deal
Nice.
with because for example, Zillow. If somebody is Zillow, as an example, is one of the interests. If a homeowner is interested in selling their property, then they might go to Zillow to figure out what they think it's worth. When they go to Zillow, there's a Facebook pixel that is there now on that website. It tracks that user. Now we're telling Facebook, hey, if you have somebody that visited Zillow recently or has an interest in Zillow, then I would like my ad to show to them. So then now that's how those connections are made. And these are, so if somebody was looking at a home equity loan, potentially they could be interested also in selling. So a lot of these interests are based on, people's behavior inside of Facebook and external websites that would lead us, that puts them into these categories. And now we want to target them. The reason why we also do an ad set without any interest is because those do work as well. And the best way that I can describe it is this: if you think about there's a billion active users on Facebook, and when an ad goes out, Facebook can only show your ad to a very small segment of the total audience that you have available. So let's say if you're targeting all those states, you may have 15 or 20 million people. Your ad's not going to show it to that many people. Facebook is going to take a sliver and make some assumptions. However, sometimes Facebook makes the wrong assumption, and then many times they'll make the right assumption. So that's why we start off with kind of broad strokes, but then we have to make adjustments in the campaign based on what we see, based on where the fish are biting. Then we make some adjustments, do some duplications in order to steer Facebook more in the direction that seems to be working for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
So those are just some of the interests and manual placements you did here.
We stick with Facebook and Instagram only. A lot of these other placements will just eat up your budget. You have to think of it, and we're going to cover this when we cover PPC. Facebook, it's different way of bidding on Facebook. Facebook, you're bidding on impressions, and whereas Google, you're bidding on search queries. So let's say that I'll give you an example. Let's say that you wanted to spend $1,000 today on anybody that wanted to search on Google, sell my house fast in your particular neck of the woods. Well, the fact is that no matter how much you put that budget, there's only a certain finite number of searches that are occurring for that particular term in that geographic region. So you're not going to spend the high budget that you want, right? No matter how much you try. With Facebook is different. If you give $1,000 today to spend on Facebook, they will make every effort possible to spend your $1,000. Because they're just going to show the ad to as many people as they can, because they want to get another $1,000 from you tomorrow. So that's why smaller budgets work better. And also that's why we want to keep the targeting, the placements to only Facebook and Instagram, because otherwise it'll show it in a bunch of places that are not really going to, eat up our budget, but are not going to give us any play in terms of leads.
Nice. Okay. So this is, I just clicked here for viewing some of the ad creatives. Is this okay to do it here?
Yeah.
Look at it here.
Yeah. So we're using what's called dynamic creative.
Oh, hold on.
Rather than
Chris,
trying to create.
I'm sorry, I lost you for a second. My AirPods are giving me a hard time. Hold on one second. Okay, we're back, Chris. I was asking
so rather
than
to
look at my ads.
Rather than creating one ad, what we're going to do is we're going to give Facebook a combination of a bunch of different images, headlines, and text. And we're going to group them all together and allow Facebook to make decisions about what it thinks is working, not working. So as you scroll through this, you're going to see some of the images, and you'll notice that the images vary. There's an ugly house there. And you can actually click on the more, let me see. If you click on view more actually, we'll scroll down and then I'll have you click on the view more variations tab on there. Okay. So if you scroll down, you see that the ad copy there, it's true. Is it really possible to sell your property without fixing it up, listing with an agent, etc. Those are there. And then if you continue to scroll down, you see the headlines. Sell your house quickly without giving it away. Sell your house without a real estate agent. What if you could sell your property this week? And so all those are put together for Facebook. And if you click on view more variations on the right hand side, click on that, and that should bring up a example of how the ads look like.
Nice.
And then you can vary on the right hand side. You can select media and select a different image to show up, for example. So you can select potentially, let's see, click on that. Yeah, you can select that. Select the house with a little with a highway, with a weird house with house on the highway. Yeah, so you can see how that looks like. So kind of a strange picture. If you think about it, it's meant to call your attention. Now, the interesting thing is with this, the ad looks interesting. The thing that really would help us is if we had maybe a better page name and a better page picture. Because if you notice, now that you see the ad, the kind of the page and the image there don't really match that well, right?
Yeah,
but
it would be better if it was a personal picture.
At very least, a personal picture showing you like your headshot, etc. But that gives you an idea of how they're going to show up in the different spots on Facebook. And then people will click on the learn more button, and then a form will pop up that allow them to enter their information. And that's pretty much, that's the gist of the ads there.
Where can I actually see what the form looks like?
You have to go to your page. So if you go to your page.
Okay.
Yeah, and then click on the upper right-hand corner, it says exit view as.
Okay.
And now let's see on the you see where it says publishing tools on the left, lower left?
Yeah.
Click on that. Then you're going to click on waiting. We should have some.
Okay.
Go on the lower left, click on Forms Library.
Forms Library.
And then go ahead and click on Preview on where it says Seller VO3. Click on Preview. And that's the information. What's the property you want to sell? What's the best email to send your offer to? What's the number we can text you our offer? How soon are you looking to sell? What is your lowest acceptable offer? And tell us why you're selling so we can help.
So the cool thing about this is you're not sending them to another website. Facebook doesn't like it when you send people off their platform, right? They would like them to stay in the Facebook world. So when they click on your learn more button from the ad, all it does is it just expands a form down below that ad, right? And it expands and it asks them, does it ask all these questions or just one after the other?
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now these are custom questions. So they're forced to type in the answers to their questions, everything except the full name. However, like Facebook doesn't like you asking a question as a custom question that the person that they already have in their system. So Facebook has a field called address. And so they'll flag that. So the way we get around that is by, if you notice, I'm asking the question in a different way. What's the address of the property you want to sell? So now it appears to Facebook that you're asking something different than what they normally would be asking. The same thing with email address, etc. Because we want them, sometimes people don't update their information on Facebook. So you don't want the form field to populate something that is incorrect. And you want them to really work through and fill out all the information.
Yeah, that's good. So instead of saying, what's your email address? It's what's the best email to send your offer to? What's the phone number that we can text our offer to? How soon are you looking to sell? What's your lowest acceptable offer? Tell us why you're selling so we can help. And does the full name autofill?
That autofills, that autofills.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. And again, this is a form that just pops up below the ad. So it doesn't send them to another website. What happens after they fill this information out?
Well, they actually get a thank you page that then allows them to go back to Facebook, but it also gives them a link to your website. So sometimes people will click through that link. And then if you're using, for example, Carrot, then you would take them to your step 2 form, which then ask them for additional information. Not everybody fills that out on this here. Maybe one out of every 10 people might go to your website and fill out that information.
So is this new here? This thing called Lead Center?
Yeah, that is new. You can click on that. Facebook. Let me see. See, you don't have any there right now. I don't
Well, it
know why
says
you
it's
don't have.
loading.
Okay.
But
Yeah. I wouldn't mess around with this. This is more for, you have to think about it as there goes the raw leads. Yeah. So Facebook is, I don't know if you know this, but Facebook just recently made an acquisition on a company that on a CRM. I forgot what it's called, but they want to be able to provide an all-in-one solution. So if you think about it, most people that are running lead ads, that don't know anything about what they're doing. They may not have any resources like they have access to you, Joe. So Facebook is just to provide them a tool that they can use in order to manage their leads. So that's what this is for. This is like their version 0.2 because it's really rudimentary.
Wow.
But they just bought a CRM company that I think they're gonna try to see what they can do with incorporating that into a more of a platform thing.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So here's the information from Donnie, but this information also went into that spreadsheet we had here.
Yeah, through the
We
use
won't
of
go into details.
Zapier. Yeah, through the use of Zapier, we sent
Zapier.
with Zapier, you can then take that information, you can send it a bunch of different ways. So when a lead comes in, we simultaneously sent you an email, simultaneously put it on a Google Sheet, and then simultaneously sent it to REI Simple. All on, one lead goes all those different places.
Powerful.
And so, that's a nice capability of Zapier that allows you to do that. We could have also done the same thing with, and we'll get into that when we look at the PPC leads, but it was just a lot more work and I ran out of time. So that's why the PPC leads, if you click on the Facebook ads leads, the information is better populated. Has the address. We mapped out the address. And then if you scroll down,
phone number, address. You may have to clean it up a little bit, right?
Yeah, but if you scroll down, we made the Zapier so that on the Zapier there, it brought in the information to the notes, right? Yeah. So we put it there as well. And again, I was pressed for time, and I couldn't. I was a little bit stuck on the Zapier with REI Simple, and I just kind of did the best I could with the time we had allotted, right, to get this done.
Well, and guys, I hope you understand and appreciate what Cris has done for me, because I said to him, "Hey, I'm starting this in a couple of days. Can you help me?" And he said, "Sure."
Yeah.
So I kind of threw him under the bus, but I mean, what you've done so far, Cris, has been amazing. We just got 2 leads today, right? Yeah. At an average cost of $9.50, $9 and something.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're in REI Simple, if you go to settings. There's a thing right here for Zapier integration. This is brand new, actually, just in the last couple of weeks. And so watch the video tutorials here about what to do with it. You're going to need to copy this stuff over. So it's a little technical in advance, but if you can't do it, you get somebody to help you do it. Cris, in the interest of time, we got to wrap this up for Facebook. I'm going to do another video with you for the Google stuff. Anything you want to just touch on here that we didn't maybe talk about yet?
No, I mean, there's a lot of, I would say a couple of things. I've taught thousands of investors now how to do Google, Facebook ads, how to do Facebook ads, and then with Google. It's a little bit, sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming because if you've never been in here, there's a lot of different options. One thing I would say is that I was in the same boat as you would be if you're starting out brand new, where you're poking around and you can't find stuff. It really becomes down to repetition. It's a lot simpler. Once you get used to it, after you build out a couple campaigns and everything just starts to make better sense. The one thing I would say is that this, as with any channel, you have to be able to put in a certain amount of money into the register. By that, I mean that if you were going to do, an example would be if you're going to do cold calling. If you said to me, Chico, I did cold calling and I just couldn't get it to work. And I say, well, how many hours did you cold call? And you told me, oh, I only cold called for 2 hours. I'm like, that's not enough. You got to cold call for a lot more. And because otherwise you just did a very small fraction. So you have to come in here, saying to yourself, you know what, I'm going to come in and generate at least 50 leads. If you, and and some of my students do better than this because, of their experience, etc. But if you go in and you generate 50 leads, you should be able to get a deal from those 50 leads. And that's my suggestion: is you go in like every marketing channel. You go in with the intention that you got to put in some money in the register in order to get back money out. And then the other thing I would say is, I'm always saying, is that I think it's an invaluable skill for anyone to learn online advertising.
Yeah.
Everybody here is an entrepreneur. You're choosing real estate as your vehicle to help you, to help you in that endeavor. But as an entrepreneur, it would benefit you immensely if you learn how to use these online platforms, how to generate leads. Facebook is an easy platform to start with. Then you migrate into Google. And once you learn those two platforms, no matter what comes in the future, it's easy, because it's like if I teach you how to wholesale, and now I teach you how to read a wholesaling contract, and you know how to fill one out. But now Joe teaches you lease options. You have that foundation knowledge of the contract that you work with me, that now when you go and you do something with Joe, now that becomes easier, because you already have that knowledge that you already now are extending into maybe a different way of doing things. It's the same thing here. Once you learn how to use these two platforms, you can pretty much use any other platform out there that may be available now or in the future. So I just think it's a really, really valuable skill for someone to learn, just as an entrepreneur in their everyday, ventures.
Totally agree. And my goal for this was to give you guys an overview, to show you, the actual ads that we're using, the page that we built, the questions that we ask, and go back to this recording and pause it and look at the pictures that we did. Look at the headlines, the text. It's true. You can sell your property without fixing it up. We have different pictures in here. And this is what the form looks like, by the way. When somebody clicks on from a desktop, this thing pops up.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the questions right here. What's the address of your property? What's the best email? Right. And so they don't leave the Facebook ecosystem.
Correct.
And that's the powerful thing of this. We're not sending them to a website. So again, I want to just tell you guys here as I stop the share, if you want more information on Cris, because Cris walks through step-by-step all of this stuff, go to flipanywhere.com/challenge, flipanywhere.com/challenge, and check out Chris's stuff. We're going to end this video here. Cris, you've been super gracious with your time, and we'll do another video next about the ads that you've helped me set up for Google PPC, which
Perfect.
I'm excited to show you all about. Thanks, guys. I know you have some questions here. If you're part of the New Market Challenge, we have our coaching call coming up in a couple, 3 days. So jump on there, and I'll make sure I answer all of your questions about this stuff. I know we've kind of overwhelmed you with a lot of stuff, but just take a deep breath, relax. Cris has a lot of amazing things and resources at flipanywhere.com/challenge, also on his YouTube channel, where you can get a lot of information about how to do these things step by step. And just like I told you, when I bought Chris's course way back in 2008, I believe is what it was, 7 and 8, I was able to do deals because Cris just broke it down step by step, and nothing was skipped or forgotten. And if you can just follow instructions, if you can click A, click B, step 1, step 2, like Cris, there's nobody better than Cris that goes through the detailed step-by-step stuff on how to do this. Well worth your investment. So I highly encourage you to go check out Cris again at flipanywhere.com/challenge. Thanks, Cris. We're going to end this now, and appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.